Hey everybody! On today's episode of With or Without Whiskey, we will be drinking Redwood Empire Lost Monarch. Stick around. Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of With or Without Whiskey. As always, I'm your host Ryan, and today we will be drinking Redwood Empire Lost Monarch. So, just like always, I'm going to start with a brief introduction where I give you some interesting facts about the whiskey itself, the distillery it comes from, and anything else I may have found along the way. Then we go into the review part of the show where I give you my nosing and my tasting notes. I'll give it a grade from 1 to 100. And let you guys know if I'm going to be with it or without it. Before we get started, do me a favor guys and hit the subscribe button down below. Not only does it show support for the channel, but it also helps people find us and enjoy the episodes as well. The Redwood Empire Distillery is located in the Russian River Valley wine region in California and was made in the building of an old apple canning and processing plant. Redwood Empire practices sustainable distilling in almost every step in the whiskey making process. They get their water from the lower Russian River Valley Basin aquifer. They use a continuous column still, which is more water and energy efficient, and after distillation, they donate the spent mash to local pig farms as livestock feed. For every bottle they sell, Redwood Empire plants a new tree. At the time of me researching this, they are up to 347,896 trees planted. Each of their whiskeys is named after an iconic redwood tree and features a different drawing of John Muir, an influential California naturalist and known as the father of our national parks. The Lost Monarch tree is the world's tallest coastal redwood at 320 feet tall and 26 feet in diameter. It is located in the Grove of Titans in the Redwood State Park. Redwood Empire tried using actual redwood in the whiskey aging, but it didn't give the whiskey a good flavor profile, so they chose not to use it. The Lost Monarch whiskey is a rye, which is a blend between a bourbon and a rye whiskey. Before the Lost Monarch label, the bourbon rye blend was called Redwood Empire American Whiskey. And it looked a little something like this one. According to Jeff Duckhorn, the master distiller at Redwood Empire, the blend for both of these whiskeys are about the same, but they blend according to taste, not an exact measurement. So it may be a slightly different percentage used for each. The Redwood Empire American whiskey was aged in new charred oak and port wine barrels, but they will be phasing out the port wine from Lost Monarch due to TTB regulations. The Redwood Empire American whiskey is also at least 2 years old, where the Lost Monarch is at least 3. The blend is about 60% rye whiskey with a mash bill of 95% rye and 5% malted barley, and 40% bourbon, with a mash bill of 75% corn, 21% rye, and 4% malted barley. They used sourced products from Indiana, Kentucky, and Tennessee, plus some whiskey they distill themselves. The bourbon is 4 to 12 years old, and the rye is 3 to 5 years old. It is 90 proof, or 45% ABV, has a barrel entry proof of 110, and is at least 3 years old. It costs about $35, is aged in new charred oak with a level 3 char, and is chill filtered. All right, let's get started. Put this over here for now. I love the label on this. Not only just the drawing, which is awesome, by the way, but the paper labeling they use. It just feels really nice in your hand. It looks really nice. The white with the blue just kind of pops. It's a nice looking bottle. All right, let's take a look at the color. So it's relatively dark. Got a nice golden amber tint to it. Nothing too crazy. So let's get right into the nose. All right, right off the bat, I'm definitely getting like a lot of spices, like cinnamon. I'm getting some cloves. I'm getting some allspice too. Like those little allspice berries, if you ever grind them up yourself. It smells like that. Ooh, there's some molasses in there, and there's some like dark toasted caramel. I get some black pepper, and I get some citrus on that too, like orange zest. There's a little bit of honey. There's some vanilla, and I'm getting a little bit of like that black licorice kind of scent. All right, let's get into the taste. Cheers, guys. Ooh. Okay, right at the beginning, you get like almost a full combination of like that bourbon and that rye. You get the sweet flavors like the caramel, the vanilla, and a little bit of cherry, but it's mixing with like that cinnamon clove spice that you'll usually get in a rye. It's got a little bit of peppery notes to it, like freshly ground black pepper, but it's also got a little sweetness on there, like brown sugar. Let's try it again. Yeah, you're definitely getting the spice, the cloves, the cinnamon, all that rye spice right up front, but it also has all those like classic bourbon notes. As you get into it a little bit more, that black licorice taste really comes forward, but it's not like the strongest note in here. I wouldn't say it's hidden, but it's definitely not taking center stage. The finish is pretty good. It's about a medium finish. I'm getting those citrusy orange notes. I'm getting that classic vanilla taste. A lot of the fruit flavors are coming through on this one. Like I'm getting those cherry notes. I'm getting like, I'll say like the flesh of an apple, but I'm also getting like a nice char note in there. It's not too oaky. It tastes more like a s'mores. Like it has the charred marshmallow, but it's got like almost a graham crackery taste to it too. Let's go one more time. Yeah, it's got a very smooth transition from that rye taste into that bourbon taste. All those flavors are melding very well. And again, on the finish, I'm getting that s'mores taste, just charred marshmallow and toasted graham cracker. All right, let's see what happens when we add a little bit of water to it. One, two. All right, mix that around a little bit and go right into the nose. Okay, on the nose, I'm getting a lot more charred oak. That woodiness is really coming through, but that toasted marshmallow I was getting on the finish is now carrying over into the scent. Let's see what else we get. Okay, the spices are gone. Like, I'm not really getting that cinnamon note anymore, but I'm still getting that dark caramel molasses kind of scent. The peppery note, again, really isn't there. It's mostly got like those sweet notes in it right now. Let's see what it did to the palate. Okay. The water, again, gave it a lot more of those woody notes. Like, I'm definitely getting a lot more oak on the palate now that I added water than I did before. When I first had it, it had almost no oakiness, but now that note is pretty strong. There's a couple of those rye spices in there again. The cherry and vanilla are still there. Not really getting that black licorice again. Not really any caramel either. Let's try it again. Yeah, there's some cherry up front. There's some vanilla up front. Then it goes into those rye spices right after. And throughout there's like this gentle, like kind of oak feel to it. The finish is a little bit longer with the water, and it definitely has a better mouthfeel. Like it coats like your lips and the inside of your cheeks. It's a little oaky on the finish with, what is that? With a little bit of like nutmeg on the end. Let's go one more. Yeah, consistent oak flavor throughout with the water. Cherry, vanilla, hint of like those rye spices right after. And then it finishes with like an oaky nutmeg. All right, stick around for the grade. All right, Redwood Empire, Lost Monarch. What did I think? So, on the nose, it had those cinnamon, clove, and allspice notes that you'll get from a rye, all blended in very nicely with those classic bourbon notes. The molasses, dark caramel, some citrus. It had a little bit of pepperiness on the nose, but it wasn't too overpowering. And then it kind of rounded out with those brown sugar notes. All in all, this was a fantastic nose on the whiskey. One of the best I've had. It's definitely up there. The taste was a little less than a nose in intensity. Like, I got a lot of the same notes. Like, there was definitely all those rye flavors up front, the cloves, the cinnamon. I got some of those black licorice notes. But again, they're melding very well together with the caramel, the vanilla, the cherry. The finish was pretty good. It had a medium length finish. There was some citrus notes. There was some vanilla notes. I was getting that apple flesh. And then there was that like charred marshmallow toasty graham cracker note. When I added the water, it dulled the nose with some of the rye spices. Like, there was no more cinnamon, there was no more cloves, there was no more pepper. I still got a lot of those sweet notes from the bourbon. There was some molasses, there was some cherry, there was some vanilla, but the toasted marshmallow s'mores kind of carried over into the nose on this one. The taste with the water was pretty good. It had a consistent oak flavor throughout, which was really missing throughout the palate initially. So, for Redwood Empire Lost Monarch, I think I'm going to give it a grade of 88 out of 100. This was really good. I really enjoyed it. The nose was fantastic. The palate was almost as good. The finish was okay. It lacked a lot of those flavors, but it did have some unique notes that weren't there throughout the tasting. Once you added water to it, it didn't kill too much of the flavor. Like, it kind of muted a little bit of the rye notes on the nose, but it brought forward a lot of other things. on the taste, it was about the same, just brought forward a little more of that oakiness. So, for Redwood Empire, Lost Monarch, I think I'm gonna go with it. This was definitely a very good whiskey, one that I'm gonna try and keep on hand as often as I can. Well, that does it for today's episode of With or Without Whiskey. If you enjoyed the episode and you had a good time today, please do me a favor and hit the subscribe button down below. Also, give me a like and hit the bell notification. That way you guys get informed every time I drop a new video. Also, leave me a comment. Let me know. Have you had Redwood Empire before? Do you like it? Do you think it's just okay? Have you tried the Lost Monarch before? What do you think of the nose? What do you think of the taste on that? Also, let me know if you guys want me to do a review on the Redwood Empire American whiskey. Have you had this one before? Have you ever done a comparison between the two? Seems like a fun idea for a new episode, so if you guys are interested in that, please let me know. Until next time, stay safe, guys. Take care.